And of course, Colt Seavers in no way pretends to be a Christ figure in this movie, in the way maybe we see in other movies like Superman or The Matrix. But there was an aspect of what he represents in the narrative that reminded me of a Christ-like attribute, and that was the idea where Jesus talks about that he didn't come to be served, but to serve. Right? Like a stuntman isn't trying to be the center of attention. He's literally serving the plot, serving the lead actor, serving the vision of the director. He doesn't necessarily have the quote unquote beauty. And yet, although it's hilarious that you have a movie, it's like, well, we have Aaron Taylor Johnson up front because he's the pretty boy. And of course, like, really? Ryan Gosling is supposed to be the ugly stunt guy, but well, whatever.
It's almost like they said, all right, we need someone who looks enough like Ryan Gosling that this can work, you know?
Yeah.
I think they cast the lead after the stunt guy, which is, you know, ironic.
Until then it becomes replaced by Jason Momoa, but that's...
No, I had the same exact thought. By the end, I was like, I'm sorry, what? I thought they were supposed to look like that. Not be 40 pounds lighter in terms of muscle mass. Okay.
Yeah. But in that way, like, okay, someone who's literally serving the narrative, serving others, serving the vision of the director. Of course, we might say God the Father if we're comparing this to Christ, but there's something quite Jesus-like about the stuntman and Colt in this movie, right? There's this speech he gives to Emily Blunt's character Jodie about how he's going to serve her movie and her career, and that she can't quit, and he's going to make it all happen. Like that, he has an inspirational speech, and then he even tells her, and then many more will come in the wake of what she's done. Which on the one hand was a little maybe woke preachy there about you need to inspire lots of other female directors, whatever. But it's still, he's being Christ-like in that moment, right? It says, for the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, to lay down his life, take the fall. Right? It's actually from Matthew 20, right? Jesus calls them together and says, you know, the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. And that, of course, like, okay, well, now that's Gale. That's Ryder. That's the way they lord it over people. And he says, not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be your slave, just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. And you think about it, in The Fall Guy, even him going over there is to serve the film, to hopefully serve Jodie, Emily Blunt's character, to hopefully serve, he wants, you know, he and then he gets even the reason that he tries to save the film by going on to the extra dimension of trying to find Ryder. He's trying to fix the movie. There is a servant orientation to him that it's like, oh, he's not there. He's rarely there for self-interest in the moments of the film. Although it winds up in a place where there's a lot of need for self-preservation.
Yeah.
And in a lot of guys, I mean, even just the title of the movie, right? In a lot of ways, you could almost say Christ becomes a fall guy and takes the fall for our sin, and also for the producing of our salvation, right?
Mm-hmm. Definitely, yeah. I mean, and it's funny too, because one thing, this is, I promise, going to circle back to being on subject, but even the title Fall Guy, right? So the first thing that comes to my mind is far more negative than what this film portrays. It's, oh no, this is someone who's going to be unjustly accused and take the fall for some powerful person. You know, the idea of a fall guy is a pretty well established concept. And just for fun, because of a discussion we're about to have actually tomorrow about artificial intelligence, I decided to ask ChatGPT if there were any theological themes in the movie The Fall Guy. After getting past a book called The Fall Guy and clarifying that it was the movie, it didn't know anything about it, which I thought was weird. Apparently ChatGPT doesn't know about this movie. But this is what it came up with. It says, I can speculate on potential theological themes that could be explored in a movie with that title. And they're pretty good notes. Like, that's the weird thing. 1, fall from grace. The title Fall Guy suggests a character who takes the blame or suffers consequences for the actions of others. I'm like, this could be interpreted in a theological context. It's a reflection of humanity's fall from grace. And I'm like, this is a robot. This is weird. Redemption, and number 2, redemption and forgiveness. Number 3, moral responsibility. Number 4, divine providence. Number 5, suffering and sacrifice. Admittedly, somewhat redundant points, but still, I thought that was an okay start, given that it didn't even know that this movie existed. I just kind of thought that was fun.
AI consumes mindfully. That's apparently.
Apparently.
We hope you enjoyed this snack-sized taste of popcorn theology. Check out the full episode using the link in the description. Subscribe on YouTube for more content. Follow and interact on social media to share with others. And remember, you are not a mindless consumer.